So about 3 months ago, no, not 3 months ago, around May. So we're in October now. June, July, August, September. Yeah, about 5 months ago, I asked ChatGPT to create a portfolio for me for my RRSP. So a bit of a backstory. My bank offered me a RRSP line of credit about 2 or 3 years ago, right? So they offered me 25,000 Canadian dollars RS for my RSP, and I accepted the line of credit, but I never did anything with it. So it was just sitting in my bank, and because I've always, from when I was young, I don't really like taking on too much debt. So I had access to this 25K, but I didn't want to use it because I was afraid of being in too much debt. So it was just sitting there. And then May this year, I was speaking to a friend of mine, and because he's a financial advisor, and in the conversation it came up that, I told him, oh, my bank actually gave me this RRSP line of credit some years ago, but I'm not really doing anything with it because I don't really like the idea of borrowing to invest, except in the case of buying a house. So he was like, Paul, I think you're thinking about it the wrong way. You're not borrowing to buy a liability. You would be borrowing to buy an asset to invest. So although yes, there's still risks, but it's a risk worth taking. You could use the bank's money to make more money. So I thought, interesting. So I then went on to ChatGPT. I knew, number one, that I didn't want to take massive risk with this money because at the end of the day, it's still a loan. Even though it's a line of credit, the interest rate is low. It's around 5.4% or something like that. So if I was going to invest, I needed it to be yielding something more than 5.4%. Ideally, between 10 and 20% a year would be great. So even after deducting the interest, the 5% interest, I will still be in profit. So I went to ChatGPT and I put in all this information. I said, ChatGPT, I have this RSP line of credit that the bank has given me. Create a portfolio for me. And I want it to not be too risky. I want it to be balanced between growth and dividend yielding ETFs. I don't want any individual stocks because I don't want to bet on any one single company. While I want to take some risk, I don't want to take too much risk. In the event I lose money, I don't want it to be too much so that I can, at worst, sell, give the bank back their money, not be in too much financial trouble. But ideally, this money helps me make some money. So, cut a long story short, ChatGPT gives me a portfolio and gives me some ETFs that balances growth with dividend yields. And the results have been fairly good because you're seeing the balance of that portfolio right now. The 25K that the bank gave us is now 28,908. In fact, it was just a little over 29,000 earlier today, meaning we've made a profit of about $4,000, or we've made gains of about $4,000 with the bank's money. Now, obviously, I'm paying the interest on this loan or this line of credit. So I'm paying about, in terms of servicing the debt, it's about $100 a month that I have to pay back in interest, just to my monthly repayments, just to service the debt, because the plan isn't to pay back the 25K right now. If you're watching from outside of Canada, or you don't know what an RSP is, it's a registered savings plan. So it's for your retirement. It's a retirement account, basically. And so this is a long-term investment. And it is tax deferred, so I don't pay any tax up front, but I will pay tax later on when I decide to cash out for my retirement. But so the servicing of the debt is about $100 a month, but even after that, we're still up and I'm paying that. I'm not really deducting money from this portfolio. So even the gains, I'm not taking out the gains to pay back to service the loan. For now, I'm paying the servicing of the loan, the monthly repayment. I'm doing that out of pocket because I want to maximize the returns on this portfolio. So as you can see, ChatGPT hasn't done too badly with its picks. It's turned 25,000 to about 29,000, about 4,000 gain. And the particular ETFs that it picks, I want to just give you so you can see the book value 25 to 36 is the book value, because I've reinvested some of the dividends. That's why the book value is higher, and the market value is 28,914, just shy of 29,000. It picked fixed income, which is basically like a cash savings account. We put about 2,000 in there. That's down at the moment, but that's just like a cash savings account. That's not really that important. But the ETFs, it gave me QQQ, and QQQ is basically a tech ETF, and that's up 18%, right? We've gained $835 from QQQ. And remember, we started this back in fact, I think I made the first purchase in June. So I went to the bank in May to tell them I want to use it and to set up the trading account. And I think it was in June that I actually made the first purchase. So if I go back to, let's start from May actually. May 1st to today's date. Yep. Go okay. You can see that the first purchase, is on June 9th. So we actually started June 9th. We made the deposit of the 25K on June 9th. And then you can see we bought 6 shares of QQQ, 43 shares of PSA, 70 shares of XEI, 97 shares of VDY, right? 51 shares of XIT, 163 shares of ZWC, and 34 shares of VFV. So those were the ETFs that ChatGPT suggested. VFV is like exposure to the S&P 500. ZWC is a high dividend yield ETF. XIT is it's also a tech ETF. Let's just go back to holdings. So yeah, VFV. Let's just go into them one by one. S&P 500. And that's up 16%, $820 we've made on that. Let's go into XIT. XIT is iShares Capped Information Tech ETF. And this is up 28%. We've made almost $1,000 on this particular ETF, but I think it's a Canadian only ETF. I'm not sure you can buy that outside of Canada. QQQ, we all know QQQ. It's a tech ETF, gives you exposure to all the big tech companies, and that's up 18% since June when we started. VDY, I believe, is one of the dividend yield ETFs. Vanguard high dividend yield ETF, that's up 12%. And which is not bad for a dividend yield ETF. Up 12%, we've made $639 on that. And so on and so forth. So the whole portfolio up about 15%. And ChatGPT built this. So I just wanted to share this for two reasons. Because I mentioned earlier that I was reluctant to use this money. Because I didn't like the idea of using debt. But you see, one of the things that I've had to learn is the difference between good debt and bad debt, right? I mean, technically, it's better for you not to be in debt. But if you are going to be in debt and if you are going to leverage money, make sure that the debt you're using to purchase investments and things that could potentially make you even more money and not liabilities that have no real value in the future. So it's not like I took this 25K and I went on a holiday or a lavish holiday, or I went to buy a new car that's going to depreciate in value over time, or I went to buy myself some new clothes or some jewelry. No, I put it into investments, into stocks, and into ETFs. And I also told ChatGPT to craft it in a way that sort of tries to minimize my risk at the same time, because like I said, this is still money that's borrowed, right? So it depends on how you use the debt is essentially what I'm saying. And number two is the importance of getting the right advice, because I could have sat with that mentality, but because I was willing to open up to my friend who, is more knowledgeable in the area of finance. He was able to advise me. And initially, he wanted me to just go and buy like some of the top companies in the S&P 500 or some of the Mag 7 companies, like the big tech companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon, and all these guys. But again, because I wanted to take a very conservative approach, I decided rather than betting on one company, I'm going to buy ETFs instead, which is a basket of companies, which reduces my risk, because if one company doesn't do well, other companies in that ETF might do well. And so it's important to get the right advice and be around the right people. But most of all, make the right decisions, be around the right people, take the right amounts of risk when necessary. And this is not financial advice. Because no risk equals no reward. If I didn't take that action, that 25k would still be sitting in my account unused, but I've put it to work and it's made me almost $4,000 in the space of 5 months, which is a relatively short period of time. And it coincided with when the market actually went down. That was the first time Trump started the whole tariff thing. The stock market went down, so I actually got in. Sometimes I think it's God, and the leading of God, because my timing was kind of perfect in terms of my entry, and that wasn't because I was so smart. It was just that was the time I felt led, that my heart was telling me, okay, go put this money to work, and it just so happened to be at a time when the market was down. So I got in at a good time, and therefore when the market recovered, I made all those gains with it. So follow your heart, I guess, is another key point to bring out of that. Anyway, I just wanted to share the portfolio and show you what ChatGPT did. Turns out ChatGPT isn't a bad financial advisor, but I'm not asking you to go use ChatGPT to borrow, to build your portfolio. Neither am I asking you to go borrow to invest. I'm just simply sharing my journey and trying to share some of my insights on my investment journey, and hopefully it helps you. I'm going to continue, just like I'm doing with some of my crypto portfolios. I'm going to continue this journey, and from time to time, I'm going to give updates on how this ChatGPT built retirement portfolio, is performing. I'm not going to be adding any more money. All I'm going to do is be reinvesting the dividends. As you can see, I have been reinvesting the dividends, right? So the dividends from VDY, ZWC, PSA, you can see I'm reinvesting the dividend every month, because some of them are monthly yielding dividends, right? So I'm reinvesting the dividend. I'm not taking out any money to spend. I'm just going to let it grow, and I'm going to, from time to time, give more updates, maybe monthly, maybe weekly, we'll see. So if you're interested in following the journey on this portfolio that ChatGPT built for me, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment. Let me know, where you are in your investment journey. Are you going to try something like this with ChatGPT? But I'll be really grateful for your support. So please, at the very least, like the video. And if you go a little bit step further, please subscribe. I'll be really grateful for your support, because let's go on this journey together. Okay, I hope that's been helpful. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Feel free to check out my channel and check out some of my other videos. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Peace, and have a great day.